Hey y'all, it's Lindsay. I thought today we might experiment with a recipe and see what happens. When I was growing up, my grandmother made the absolute best sour cream chicken enchiladas that any of us had ever tasted. Everyone would request them for their birthday dinners whenever she hosted, and it was a phenomenon. There was only one of them. I think it's a phenomenon within our family unit that we all just absolutely loved and adored. Well, being a consumer of low carb food, the enchiladas were out of my reach. And a while ago, gosh, it must have been last year sometime. Tricky. I made a recipe video of enchiladas. I don't remember if it's actually still live on my channel or not, but those were with a red sauce. This that my grandmother would make has a white sauce, and she used things like cream of chicken and lots of dairy and flour tortillas. So I could not do that. I made them low carb back in the day. Gosh, it must have been about 6 months ago, maybe. I can't quite remember. I know I did film all the footage, but then I was never able to get the video to come together. Footage was misplaced. Things happened. Anyway, I hope to eventually put a recipe video out for my grandmother's sour cream enchiladas. However, today I want to go a different direction. I have a whole lot of brisket left over in my fridge, and we have done lots of things with it. We have eaten it as sliced brisket. We have eaten it as chopped brisket barbecue sandwiches. You can do it as tacos. You can do a variety of things with brisket. And I thought to myself, let's change it up a little bit and let's try to make some brisket enchiladas with a kind of like a creamy gravy, I guess. I'm not really sure how this is going to go. My enchilada sauce, that is more of a white sauce, is probably going to turn into a brown gravy because I'm gonna use beef stock instead of chicken stock. So we'll see how this goes. It's an experiment. We don't know. We don't know. I don't think this is an ideal setup. However, we're just gonna work with it and see what happens. Let me see if I can't. No. One of the things that the sour cream chicken enchiladas require is a can of cream of chicken soup. I don't want that. I don't use that. But what I'm going to do is I am going to go through and reduce some beef broth and coconut milk, along with a little bit of glucomannan powder, which is just the konjac root. It is a thickening agent that is low carb. You can use xanthan gum as a substitute. You could probably use things like arrowroot powder or some other kind of a fibrous powder to help gel this. I would not use psyllium husk. That would produce not great results. But I'm gonna go grab my pot, my sauce pot, and I guess it's a pan, it's a saucepan. And we're gonna get that set up right here and get that working. Right here I have about 2 cups worth of beef bone broth. We're gonna add in probably 2 cups of my coconut milk, unsweetened, unflavored. I'm gonna let that start to warm up, and I'm gonna let that reduce. Try not to catch my hair on fire. Let's do this. While I am reducing that beef broth and coconut milk, I have not added any glucomannan to it yet. I'm just gonna let those 2 things hang out for a little while. But I've started on my meat mixture here, and the first thing I'm gonna do is I am going to dice up some green bell pepper and some onion. I want about a half cup of each of these, and I want them to kind of be a similar size. I think I might be able to get away with just half of this green bell pepper. Here are my diced veggies, about 1/4 of a diced onion, about 1/2 of a green bell pepper, and I'm going to do the next few steps in my cast iron skillet here. I'm going to snag a couple of tablespoons of softened butter, and we're going to heat up the skillet. Let that get nice and warm, and then I'm going to go ahead and start softening up these veggies. We have two of our components working right now. My veggies are over here softening, and then my sauce is over here. Hopefully it's going to come to a simmer and then eventually start to reduce down. But while those things are working, I wanted to show you what I am working with. I made a bunch of my egg tortillas, egg wraps, if you will. I have a video where I show you how I make these and then turn them into chips in my air fryer back there. It's at our old house. So if you're looking at me in this kitchen, it's probably not the right video. Okay, so I've got a bunch of these hanging out in my refrigerator. So I'm gonna use these as my tortillas. And then here is my leftover brisket. I think I will try to use about half of this. I know I need about 3 cups of chopped meat. I don't know, we may end up using the majority of that. I also have some chopped green chilies. These are a mild green chili. They're not a spicy one. This will be better for my girls. And I will probably be making a batch that is low carb friendly for my husband and I. And then another batch that has flour tortillas for my girls. While my other components are on the stove, I'm gonna go ahead and chop this up into a little bit more manageable pieces. A lot of this will probably just break apart, and yeah, that's what we're gonna do now. That should be good right there. Approximately, I don't know, 3 cups or so, which is what I would like to use. We're starting to get a little bit of steam rising. The reduction on that sauce is gonna be the longest part of this process. I'm happy with the way these vegetables are looking. So now we're gonna add the beef and turn off the heat. I'm gonna go ahead and add my green chilies to my meat. I think I might reserve a few for my sauce back here and see what happens. The next thing these need is some shredded cheese. Now I've thought about this. I have Colby Jack in my refrigerator and I have mozzarella in my refrigerator. And I kind of want to do a blend of both. So I think I might shred up about 8 ounces of each of those 2 cheeses and play it by ear. All right, half a block of mozzarella and some Colby Jack. Everything that we don't use, we will, happily store in the fridge and use at a later date. Okay, cheese is all shredded, and now I'm just checking over here on my sauce. It is starting to reduce some, but I think I might go ahead and add glucomannan to this to sort of thicken it up. And then here is my brisket and peppers, onions, chiles. It's looking fantastic. This has been off heat the whole time that the brisket has been in there. That cast iron skillet is just kind of helping to warm that mixture up so that the beef can kind of come apart a little bit more without becoming complete mush. So there's that. And yeah, let's go grab that glucomannan. All right, glucomannan powder. This is the brand I have used since 2016, Best Naturals. It has had a consistent product, and I have that in my Amazon storefront down in the links if you are interested in learning more about that. And one thing about glucomannan is you want to use a light hand and you want to whisk like your life depends on it so that it doesn't get clumpy and gross. Also, we are very, very close right there, so maybe this will be a little bit better. I'm going to go in with a 1/8 teaspoon, and I'm going to sprinkle lightly as I whisk to try to make sure that the powder dissolves before it clumps. And I'm going to let that work for a little bit while we wait. I have my Colby Jack and my mozzarella. I'm going to go ahead and add just a few ounces of that shredded cheese to my beef mixture here. Maybe just about, I don't know, a handful of each. Maybe a little more mozzarella. So it is slowly thickening up here in my sauce. I went ahead and added in another 2/8 of a teaspoon of my konjac root. So I've added 3/8 of a teaspoon here. It was just definitely not thickening up as much as I wanted, and it's not an exact science. The humidity levels can have a factor in it. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and add a shake or two of some ground cumin. And here's my meat mixture still kind of hanging out. As you can see, it's not super warm. The cheese has not fully melted. I'm gonna go ahead and shut my heat off to this sauce. I think it's about as thick as it's going to be right now, and I need to add sour cream. I don't have enough sour cream on hand right now, and I am going to instead use some of my homemade yogurt. This is full fat yogurt. And I'm probably going to dip out, I don't know yet. We'll see how many I dip. That's 1. That's 2. Let's see how that incorporates here. I think it needs 1 more scoop. This is my Instant Pot ladle. There we go. That texture is looking a lot better to me. Okay, I want to say that was probably 2 full cups, possibly a little bit more of my homemade Greek yogurt, aka what I'm using for sour cream. Now I'm gonna set you up and we're gonna build up some enchiladas. Woo. Okay, I'm gonna take a 9x7, is that what this is? I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna take one of my smaller Pyrex dishes and I'm gonna ladle up some sauce in the bottom. Don't be stingy. Set that, maybe, where will you see it? Will you see it here? Maybe, perhaps. Okay, my egg wraps have been sitting out, so they're very nice and pliable. I'm going to scoop some beef there, and I've got cheese already in it. I'm gonna wrap my little fellas up here. Seam side down. Here are my 6 enchiladas, and we're gonna go ahead and sauce the top. And then we're gonna sprinkle some cheese. Keeping in mind, I've got two types of cheese over here, the mozzarella. And I know mozzarella is not a traditional like Mexican flavor food, but with it being so mild, I think it might add some creaminess that otherwise might not be there. Okay, one last little thing. The last thing I'm going to do is take some of these chilies from my can that I did not put into my mixture, and I'm just going to kind of spread those on top. So now we're going to take the little fellas okay. These are at 325 on a convection setting, which is about 350 on a regular setting. I'm going to go ahead and get these in here for 25 minutes. My goal is really just to make sure that they're all the way heated through and the cheese is totally melty. And yeah, I'll keep an eye on them. After I put the enchiladas into the oven, it occurred to me, Grandma used to always mix some of her enchilada sauce into her meat mixture, and I failed to do that. So experiment has been tampered with, I guess. So they're not going to be quite as good. Normally I remember to do that whenever I make my chicken enchiladas because I have that written down in my process. But I think the whole concept of using brisket sort of threw me a little bit, and yeah, I don't know, but we'll see how it goes. This sauce actually turned out quite a bit whiter than I expected. Obviously the yogurt had a tremendous factor in that, and yeah. Okay, I'm gonna clean up while I'm waiting for this to finish baking. I think it's gonna be good. I think it'll be good. All right, I have dished out one full enchilada for myself, and I think it's time for a bit of a taste test. That might be a large bite. That's pretty tasty. Maybe I should step back a little. I don't mind that for a moment. The sauce could definitely use some more seasoning in my opinion, but because that brisket was so well seasoned, I don't think that it becomes a problem at all. That is good. Yes, definitely writing that one down. I am a little curious if I could do this with, say, like a chuck roast or something like that and use the leftovers, chop them up as if it were brisket. I know it would probably be a lot more mushy as far as mouthfeel and texture would turn out, but I don't know. This could work. Brisket is so good. Okay, I'm gonna actually go put a full serving on my plate. I'm gonna go grab some cauli rice to go alongside this, and I am gonna go have some dinner. I really appreciate you coming along with me on this recipe experiment video, and I hope to see you in my next one.